Hello everyone, my name is Colin Agor and I'm a senior in high school and the lead researcher in charge of this CoE research into the evaluation of flying wing configuration versus tail-aft configurations for low-speed pure gliders. I'm a researcher in the Aerospace Vehicle Design Laboratory under Dr. Bernd Chudova, who has been my faculty advisor for this project. This idea was sparked out of my experiences as a sailplane pilot and the current increases in performance on the racing stage. Normally, new iterations of designs are within one or two lift-over drag points, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and give us a good baseline for what we're looking into with designs. But I wanted to find out if there was something that we've been missing in our just continual tail-aft configuration designs that might work a little bit better. So we began by doing a historical review of not only what nature has produced as flying wings, but some of the early flying wing configurations from the pioneers of aviation. Whether that's from World War II and the Horton brothers, who built the HO4, which was kind of the pinnacle of glider design at that time, with a lift over drag ratio of greater than 42:1, meaning for every 42 feet it went forward, it went down 1. This performance was really not matched until the 1970s, when large fiberglass gliders were being designed in open class, and really their performance was quite impressive for what they had at the time. More conventional gliders took the stage, as the Hortons was a little bit harder to fly, and there were some considerations with structures that were a little bit more difficult. As we'll see later, that's kind of a continual theme with flying wings, is they're a little bit harder to design structure-wise, but these designs kind of fell off, and tail-aft took over. So for the next 30 or so years, up until the 1970s, there really was no work in the glider world with flying wings. The National Aeronautics Committee did some work with Langley into the YB-49 and other flying wings in the years after World War II, but this was kind of stopped after a while, just due to all of the concerns that were had with how these vehicles are designed. So when I was looking into this, I tried to focus in three main areas that came up continually as being problems for flying wings, and some of the areas that normal tail-aft configuration gliders try to really limit their tie-ups in. This starts mainly with structures, and that's been a big thing continually for these vehicles, is that when they're being designed, there really isn't much wiggle room. We have a fairly low weight budget of just 600 kilos for a standard class glider, so fitting a really rigid structure into that budget using composites is not impossible, but it's a lot more difficult, and with the addition of water ballast tanks, which most racing sailplanes have, it's just a little bit more difficult. The next is stability and control, where we were focused mainly on pitching moment, yawing moment due to side slip, and roll stability, because these are the three main areas that vehicle trajectories for sailplanes really focus. And for tail-aft configuration, it's not so much of an issue, because we can just use standard design practices to hammer out what these should be, but flying wings are a little bit more touchy in these areas, as they don't have as many control surfaces, and just the overall lift distribution makes it harder to stabilize around such a small CG. And then finally, we wanted to look at the aerodynamics. Since this is such a big portion of why flying wings are desirable, since they have a lot less drag due to their lack of an empennage and tailplane surfaces, it's really desirable, since you can theoretically get about a 40% increase for the same span and design of aircraft just by removing all of the rearward surfaces. So it's a big deal. Eventually, these things kind of get a little bit dampened out by design choices that have to be made to prioritize structures and stability over the theoretical gains, but I mean, in conclusion, I think that increases in these vehicle designs will really help hammer some of these issues out, and that with time and as new designs come onto the market, it'll definitely be an option for future designers to utilize, and hopefully something that's very successful in the competition market in the next 10 years.